The city lights shimmered faintly on the river as I approached the bridge. It was the same one where I'd once stood, soaked in rain, numb from loss, convinced life had ended for me. The memories rushed back like a storm I thought I'd never escape. I stopped at the railing, gripping it lightly. The night air was calm now. No rain, no chaos, just quiet. I let it settle around me, and for the first time in years, I breathed without holding back. I whispered softly, almost to myself, "Thank you for leaving me." The words felt strange, yet freeing. I remembered the cold, the betrayal, the heartbreak, the humiliation. I remembered Damien's smirk, Lena's laughter, the pain of being ignored and undervalued. Every single memory had carved the man I was. A breeze stirred, brushing my face. I leaned over the railing and stared at the reflection in the water. It wasn't the boy they'd destroyed. It wasn't the version of me that had almost given up. It was the man I'd rebuilt, stronger, calmer, tempered by fire. My eyes traced the ripples and the light catching on the water. A reminder that even fractured reflections could shine. A voice in my mind whispered all the lessons I'd learned. Patience, observation, resilience. Every late night, every investment, every plan had led me here. Every betrayal had been a step, not a weight. I smiled faintly, feeling the weight of my past lift. The anger, the grief, the longing, all had transformed into clarity. I didn't need revenge anymore. I didn't need to prove myself to anyone. The company, the people who had hurt me, even Lena, none of that defined me now. A lone jogger passed by, glancing at me curiously. I nodded at him and he nodded back. The world moved around me as it always had, but I was no longer running from it. I turned slightly, looking back at the skyline. Lights flickered in office towers, people still chasing dreams, ambition, love, greed, all intertwined. I had once been part of that frenzy, but now I was free from it. I whispered again, quieter this time. I'm free. It wasn't a boast. It wasn't victory over anyone else. It was victory over the man I used to be, lost, broken, desperate. That version of me had ended on this bridge years ago. The reborn version would walk forward. I stepped back from the railing and felt the solid metal beneath my hands. Ground beneath my feet. The city hummed softly around me, and for the first time I felt it all align. The past, the pain, the choices, the lessons. I turned from the water, letting the reflection fade from view. One last glance, one deep breath, and I walked away. No shadows behind me. No chains around me. Just me, finally free. I was signing papers when the door opened quietly. I didn't need to look up to know who it was. The air changed. Soft perfume, hesitant breathing. "Ethan," Lena whispered. I looked up slowly. Her eyes were red, her mascara smudged. "Lena," I said evenly. "To what do I owe the visit?" She shut the door behind her. "I just needed to see you." "Now you see me," I said, leaning back in my chair. "What do you want?" "I made a mistake," she said, voice cracking. "I thought he loved me." I set the pen down. "You replaced love with greed, Lena. That's not a mistake. That's a choice." Her lips trembled. "You think I don't know that now?" "Damien's gone. He left me with debts, scandals." I raised a hand. "Stop. You don't get to turn this into your tragedy. You got what you wanted. Power, status, his name." Tears rolled down her cheeks. "I didn't want to lose you." "You already had," I said softly. "You just didn't notice when it happened." She took a step closer. "Do you ever think about us? About how it could have been if—" "No," I interrupted. "Because if you truly believed in us, none of this would have happened." Her hands clenched. "You've changed." "I had to," I said. "The man you betrayed couldn't survive this world." "The one sitting here?" "He did," she laughed bitterly. "You sound like him now, cold, detached." Maybe that's what surviving looks like. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence stretched, heavy with everything we'd lost. Finally, she whispered, "I still dream about that night. The one where you said we'd rise together." "I remember," I said quietly. "You rose, just without me." Her voice broke. I thought he could give me more. "He did," I said. "More pain, more regret." She looked down, tears dripping onto the floor. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" "No," I said. "I'm just done bleeding for people who never cared if I lived or died." She stared at me, searching for the man she once knew. "You're not the same Ethan." "The old Ethan died on that bridge," I said, standing. "I just wear his name." Her lips parted as if to speak, but no words came. The fight drained from her eyes. She turned toward the door slowly. "Goodbye, Ethan," she whispered. I nodded once. "Goodbye, Lena." The door clicked shut behind her. For a long moment, I just stood there listening to the echo of her footsteps fading down the hall. I felt no anger, no satisfaction, only silence. I walked to the window, looking out at the city I'd rebuilt myself in. The glass reflected a stranger's face, stronger, colder, untouchable. Maybe that was closure. Not revenge, not forgiveness, just peace. The past had come to apologize, but I no longer needed to hear it. Chapter 8. The Man I Became. The news spread faster than I expected. Damien was finished, stripped of title, reputation, and wealth. His empire had crumbled, piece by piece, just like the night he'd torn my life apart. I stood in the boardroom, staring at the company logo gleaming on the glass wall. It wasn't triumph I felt. It was silence. The door opened behind me. Sophie walked in, carrying her usual calm energy. "You did it, Ethan." I turned slightly. "No," I said softly. "I just stopped letting others write my story." She smiled faintly. "Still sounds like victory to me." "Maybe," I said. "But revenge isn't as sweet as I thought it'd be." "Then what is?" she asked, stepping closer. "Peace," I said. "Finally waking up without anger eating at me." Sophie studied me. "You've changed a lot." "I had to," I said, exhaling slowly. "The man who once begged for approval wouldn't have survived this world." She nodded. "And Damien?" "Removed. His assets frozen. Clara filed for divorce this morning. She took what little dignity he had left." Sophie gave a short, quiet laugh. "Karma works fast when truth catches up." "Yeah," I murmured. "But it's strange. I thought I'd enjoy watching him fall. Instead, I just feel done." She tilted her head. "You built something better in the ashes. That's not revenge. That's rebirth." I looked at her, thoughtful. Maybe that's what this was always about. Not proving them wrong, but proving to myself I could rise again. Sophie smiled. "You did rise, Ethan. Higher than any of them imagined." "Maybe too high," I said, half smiling. "Sometimes I look around and wonder if I've become what I once hated." "You haven't," she said firmly. "You didn't destroy for pleasure. You rebuilt for peace." Her words hit deeper than I expected. For a moment, I saw flashes, Lena's tears, Damien's rage, my reflection on that bridge. The man who'd stood there once wanted to disappear. The man standing here had learned to live. I turned back to the window. Funny how time rewrites everything. I used to think losing them was the end. Turns out it was the beginning. Sophie joined me by the glass. "So what now?" "I lead differently," I said. "No greed, no pride, just purpose." She nodded. "That sounds like the Ethan I always believed in." I looked at her. "You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." She shrugged lightly. "Someone had to." The room fell quiet again, filled only by the hum of the city below. "I'm not chasing revenge anymore," I said finally. "I'm chasing peace, and maybe a life that means something." Sophie smiled. "Then you've already won." I took one last look at the logo, once a symbol of betrayal, now one of rebirth. The past me died in pain, but the man standing here, he lived with purpose. The morning of the board meeting felt electric. My phone buzzed nonstop, messages, rumors, fragments of panic. Damien's empire was finally shaking. I straightened my tie slowly, letting every second stretch. Today wasn't about showing up early. It was about showing up right. When I finally walked into the boardroom, the air froze. Damien's voice cut through the silence. "You're late, Ethan. Typical." I figured I'd let the suspense build, I said, sliding into my chair. He sneered. "You don't belong here." "Actually," I said, placing a folder on the table, "I do. I own the company now." The words hit like thunder. Every head turned. Lena's pen slipped from her fingers. Director Chen's brow lifted slightly. Damien laughed, forced and brittle. "You're joking." "Do I look like I'm joking?" I asked, flipping open the folder. 30% through the holding firms. Another 15 from transferred shares this morning. That makes 45 total. Effective control. Chen leaned forward. Is this true, Mr. Damien? Damien's voice cracked. He couldn't have. Couldn't? I repeated. You said that once before, right before you took my project and handed it to Lena. Lena spoke softly. Ethan, what is this? This isn't you. Oh, it's me, I said. The same Ethan who stayed late for your dreams. The same Ethan who believed loyalty meant something. She stood abruptly. You planned this? Planned? I smiled faintly. No, I learned. You and Damien taught me that survival isn't about talent, it's about timing. Damien slammed his hand on the table. You think money makes you powerful? You're still nothing compared to me. I leaned forward. Then why are you sweating? Silence filled the room. Even the air conditioner seemed to pause. Chen cleared his throat. Mr. Ethan's documentation appears valid. Unless the board objects, majority control shifts to him effective immediately. The color drained from Damien's face. You can't, this company is mine. Not anymore, I said. It's ours now. Mine, to be exact. He turned to Lena desperately. Say something. You were part of this team. Lena's voice wavered. Damien, maybe we should listen. Don't you dare side with him. I stood, my tone even. Don't blame her, Damien. This is the bed you made. I just stopped lying in it, Chen nodded. We'll need to finalize the transfer paperwork. Damien, you'll have to vacate your position until we review the compliance reports. Damien's glare burned into me. You think this is over? It's over, I said quietly. You just don't know it yet. He stormed out, slamming the door so hard the glass rattled. Lena turned toward me, her eyes wet. You could have warned me. I could have, I said, meeting her gaze. But you never warned me either, she looked down. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I know, I said softly. But you still chose him. The silence that followed wasn't cruel, it was final. When the room cleared, Chen lingered. You played a long game, Ethan. Not many could. I smiled faintly. It wasn't a game. It was survival, he nodded. And now? Now, I said, looking out the window at the city skyline. I rebuild. My way. The glass reflected a version of me I barely recognized. Calm, composed, in control. Lena's voice echoed faintly in my memory. You've changed. Yes, completely. Every sleepless night, every humiliation, every betrayal, it all led to this moment. When the curtain finally fell, I wasn't the man they left behind. I was the one they never saw coming. Months passed like whispered secrets, each day tightening the quiet web I was spinning. By day, I was the same Ethan, calm, polite, predictable. By night, Marcus and I turned data into weapons. You're sure about this one? Marcus asked, eyes gleaming under the low light of the cafe. Completely, I said. Their tech division will explode in 6 months. We buy in small under different names, he grinned. You sound like a prophet. More like someone who's already seen the future, I murmured. He laughed. Still freaks me out when you say things like that. It's not magic, I said. Just preparation. Bit by bit, we acquired small holdings hidden through layers of shell corporations. Every share was a piece of my comeback, silent, invisible, inevitable. Lena noticed my distance first. You're acting strange lately, she said one evening as we rode the elevator together. Strange how? I asked, eyes fixed on the floor numbers. You don't stay late anymore. You barely talk to Damien. You barely talk to me. Just focusing on my work, I said, my voice steady. She sighed. You used to tell me everything. Maybe I learned that not everything should be shared. She frowned, searching my face. You've changed. Good, I said quietly as the doors opened. Change keeps things interesting. Inside, I burned with satisfaction. Damien was slipping. Investors were growing cautious. I'd seen it in the reports, the subtle tightening of funds, the hesitation in his voice during calls. At another late meeting, he tried to assert his usual dominance, so, Ethan, he said, smirking as everyone watched. Still chasing perfection, or have you accepted mediocrity yet? I looked at him slowly, almost amused. Perfection's expensive, I said. I prefer things that grow quietly. The room chuckled, unsure if it was a compliment or a jab. Damien didn't like the uncertainty. Be careful with your words, he said, the smile thinning. Always am, I replied, holding his gaze. Afterward, Sophie caught me in the corridor. You enjoyed that, she said. Maybe a little. She folded her arms. What are you really doing? Working, I said. Just not only here, she tilted her head. You sound like a man with secrets. Everyone does, I said, walking past her. Some are just better kept. That night, Marcus called. Ethan, we hit it. 2 of the firms tripled in value overnight. We're liquid enough to buy into bigger ones now. Good, I said, staring out at the city lights. Next step, acquire through holding companies. Target Damien's investors, Marcus hesitated. You're playing dangerous, man. It's not danger if they don't even know you're in the game, I replied. Over the next few weeks, I watched it unfold. Damien's confidence cracked. His tone in meetings turned defensive. I could see the panic flicker behind his eyes when Chen questioned him about reports. One afternoon, I overheard Damien on the phone. What do you mean they pulled funding? Who convinced them? His voice trembled with disbelief. I smiled silently, walking past his glass office without slowing. Later, during another board review, he tried to humiliate me again. Ethan, he said, smirking in front of the directors. You're still here? Thought you'd quit after your last innovation flopped. I leaned back in my chair. Funny thing about flops, I said. Sometimes they bounce back higher, he laughed. You've always had a way with excuses, I smirked. And you've always had a way with overconfidence. The board members exchanged looks, tension thick in the air. Damien didn't notice, because while he ridiculed me, I knew the truth. The man he mocked, the man he believed powerless, now owned 30% of his company's shares, and I wasn't done yet. I walked into the office that morning with a calmness that wasn't real. My pulse raced beneath my steady smile. The same walls, same fake laughter, same scent of burnt coffee, but everything had changed. I'd changed. Damien greeted me near the elevators. Morning, Ethan. Ready for the pitch review? Always, I said, meeting his grin with one of my own. You'll like what I've prepared. I usually do, he said, his hand on my shoulder longer than necessary. I nodded, pretending the touch didn't make my skin crawl. Inside the meeting room, Lena sat beside him, notes spread across the table. She smiled at me, too familiar, too trusting. Big day, she said. Don't mess it up. Wouldn't dream of it, I replied, my voice even. While they laughed with the others, I watched. Every word Damien spoke revealed something. His need to be admired, his subtle glances at Lena, his irritation when anyone challenged him. He craved control more than success. That was his weakness. After the meeting, Sophie caught up with me in the hallway. She'd always been observant. Sharp eyes, quiet voice. You've changed, Ethan, she said softly. You look calm. Calm people plan best, I answered, half smiling. Her brows lifted. That sounds dangerous. Only for the right people, I said. She hesitated, searching my face. I used to think you were too kind for this place. I was, I said simply, and walked away. By lunch, I'd already sent an email to Director Chen's assistant. I'd remembered something from before, the director's frustration with Damien's risky spending. This time, I wouldn't ignore it. When Chen invited me to his office later, I kept my tone respectful. Sir, I've been analyzing the budget allocations for Project Helios. Some of the figures don't align with the investor reports. His gaze sharpened. Damien signed off on those. Yes, I said carefully. I assumed he had your approval. He frowned. Show me the discrepancies. As I laid out the data, I could feel the balance shifting. He wasn't angry at me. He was intrigued. When the meeting ended, he said, You think before you speak, Ethan. I appreciate that. Keep me informed. Of course, Director. Leaving his office, I allowed myself a single breath of satisfaction. One seed planted, one step closer. Later, Lena stopped by my desk. You were quiet today, she said. Something wrong? No, just thinking. About what? About the future, I replied. Ours, the company's? She smiled, not hearing the edge in my tone. You always overthink. Maybe, I said, looking at her closely. But maybe I didn't think enough before. That night, I stayed late under the flickering office lights, my reflection watching me from the window. I wasn't sure if I looked like a man rebuilding or a man unraveling, but I didn't care. Damien's laughter echoed faintly from the hallway. I didn't turn. I just whispered to myself, laugh while you can. I checked my messages. One from Sophie. "Whatever you're planning, be careful," I typed back. "I'm just observing." Her reply came fast. "Observers don't smirk while watching a fire start," I smiled. She wasn't wrong. In the quiet that followed, I felt something I hadn't in years. Not peace, but purpose. Every smile I gave from now on would mean something. Every word, every glance, a move on a chessboard only I could see. I wasn't going to warn them. I wasn't going to stop them. I was going to watch until it was time to strike. The horn came out of nowhere. I turned, saw the lights, and then nothing. No pain, no sound. Just black. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't in the street. I was in my bed. My old bed. The faded curtains, the broken alarm clock, the smell of cheap coffee, all of it. My heart pounded as I sat up. The digital clock blinked. 7:02 a.m. That couldn't be right. I'd thrown that clock away years ago. I grabbed my phone from the nightstand. The screen lit up. Different wallpaper, different apps. A message flashed at the top, Lena. "Good luck on your first day." My fingers trembled. "No," I whispered. "This isn't real." I scrolled through my messages. The date at the top read March 10th, 2022, 3 years before the promotion. Before the betrayal. Before everything. "What the hell?" I muttered. I rushed to the mirror. My face looked younger. No tired lines, no stress. Just me, 3 years ago. My phone buzzed again. "Mom, don't forget breakfast before work. You always skip it." I sank onto the bed staring at the screen. My mind spun between disbelief and a strange, growing calm. Was this a second chance or punishment? A knock sounded on my door. "Ethan, you're going to be late!" Lena's voice. That same cheerful tone I used to love. For a moment, I couldn't move. Then I opened the door. She stood there, smiling bright, the woman I once thought I'd marry. Still in pajamas. She laughed. "You'll miss the bus again." I stared at her, trying to breathe. "You look different," she frowned. "Different how?" "Just happier," I said softly. She tilted her head. "You okay?" "Yeah, just strange dream." "Dream later," she teased, tugging at my sleeve. "Come on, big first day." "Damien's expecting you to impress." At the sound of that name, my stomach twisted. Damien Wells, the man who'd take everything from me, the man standing at the top of my ruined future. I forced a smile. "Yeah, I'll be ready." She laughed, kissed my cheek, and walked toward the kitchen. I watched her go, every step feeling like a ghost replaying an old memory. I sat back down, gripping my phone. My heart slowed. If this was real, if time had truly turned back, then fate had just handed me the sharpest weapon of all, knowledge. I whispered to myself, "You won't fool me again, Lena. Not this time." I looked around the small apartment, the one we used to call ours. It had once felt like home. Now it felt like a stage, and I finally knew the script. When she called from the kitchen, "Coffee or tea?" I replied quietly, "Neither." "I've already woken up," she laughed, not understanding. But I did. I understood everything. Fate had given me another chance. Another beginning carved from my own end. This time I wouldn't be naive. This time I'd rewrite everything. The whispers started the next week. I'd walk into the office and feel them. Eyes, smirks, half-hushed laughter. "She's with Damien now," someone muttered once. I pretended not to hear. Pretended it didn't destroy me every time. I buried myself in work. Overtime became my only companion. I stopped sleeping, stopped eating properly. Every design I submitted came back with red marks and short notes. Not innovative enough. Needs direction. Damien's words. One morning, Sophie cornered me near the copier. "Ethan, you look awful. You should talk to someone." "I'm fine," I said, forcing a smile. "You're not. You've been killing yourself here. I just need one win, that's all." Her eyes softened. "You can't outwork heartbreak." "I can try," I muttered. Hours later, my phone buzzed. HR meeting. Urgent. My stomach dropped. In the conference room, Damien sat across from me, calm as ever. HR manager Grace sat beside him, papers neatly stacked. Grace cleared her throat. "Ethan, we've reviewed your recent performance. The company has decided to terminate your contract effective immediately." I blinked. "Terminate?" "I've given this company everything." Damien leaned back, smiling faintly. "You've been underperforming." "It happens." "Underperforming?" My voice cracked. You took my project. You took my... I stopped. The word girlfriend caught in my throat. You took everything from me. He tilted his head. You gave it away, Ethan. Maybe next time you'll learn how to play smarter. I wanted to hit him. Instead, I stood frozen, fists shaking at my sides. You'll regret this. Maybe, he said, shrugging. But not today. I snatched the termination papers, tore them in half, and tossed them on the table. Grace gasped. Damien laughed softly. Drama suits you, he said. I walked out before I could lose control. The entire office stared. Some looked away, others whispered. I caught Lena's eyes through the glass wall of Damien's office. She looked down quickly. Outside, the sky had darkened. The first drop of rain hit my hand, then another. By the time I reached the street, it was pouring. My suit clung to me, cold and heavy. My phone buzzed. Mom. I hesitated, then answered. Ethan? You sound tired. Did something happen? No, Mom, just a long day. You've been having a lot of those. I'll be fine. Don't worry. You always say that, she whispered. When the call ended, I stood under the awning, staring at the city lights reflecting in the puddles. Everyone else seemed to have somewhere to go. I didn't. Hours later, I found myself in a dim bar near my apartment. The bartender eyed me. Rough day? Worst one yet, I said, sliding him a few crumpled bills. Whiskey? Make it double. The glass hit the counter. I downed it fast, the burn cutting through the numbness. Another, then another. Around me, laughter echoed, happy, careless. I hated it. When I stumbled outside, the rain had started again. My shoes splashed through puddles as I walked aimlessly. Streetlights blurred into streaks of gold. I didn't know where I was going until I saw the bridge. The river below looked dark, endless. I leaned against the railing, breathing hard. My reflection wavered in the water, pathetic, soaked, defeated. How did it come to this? I whispered. Was I really that blind? The wind howled in reply. For a second, I wondered if the world would even notice if I disappeared. My phone buzzed again. A message from Sophie. I heard what happened. Please don't do anything stupid. I stared at it for a long time before sliding the phone back into my pocket. I looked down at the river one last time, then turned away. My legs felt heavy, my heart heavier. I didn't want to die. I just didn't know how to live anymore. The conference room lights felt too bright, too sharp. My hands were slick with sweat as Damien cleared his throat. Today, he said, voice booming, we recognize one of our most outstanding talents. Someone who's proven true leadership. I straightened in my chair. 3 years of endless nights, sketches, revisions, all for this. I caught Lena's smile from across the table. She looked proud. My heart eased. Damien's next words shattered everything. The position of project director goes to Lena Hayes. The room burst into applause. I froze, my stomach dropped. My name should have been on his lips. Lena stood, pretending to look surprised. Thank you, Mr. Wells, I'll do my best. I forced a smile. It felt like glass cutting my face. After the meeting, I waited for everyone to leave before approaching her. Lena, I said, voice low. You knew, she blinked. Knew what? That promotion. You knew it was mine. She crossed her arms. You don't own the company, Ethan. Damien said I have more vision. Vision? I laughed bitterly. Whose designs did you present last week? Mine, every drawing, every model, mine. She frowned. You're overreacting. I gave you everything, I said. Every idea, every late night, every ounce of trust. I told you I was tired of waiting, she snapped. You think hard work is enough? You're too cautious. Damien believes in me. My chest tightened. Believes in you? Or sleeps with you? Her expression hardened. Don't you dare! The silence stretched until I could hear the hum of the lights. I took a step back, swallowing the rage burning in my throat. I thought we were a team, I said quietly. We were, she murmured, eyes dropping, until I realized you'd never be more than an employee. The words hit harder than any slap. You used me. I shared your dreams, she said, voice shaking. But dreams don't pay rent, Ethan. I stared at her, seeing a stranger wearing Lena's face. Congratulations, then, I whispered. You got what you wanted, she turned away. Don't make this harder than it has to be. I laughed, empty and hollow. Harder? You just destroyed everything. As I walked out, Damien's voice echoed down the hallway. "Cole, don't take it personally. Business is about results." I stopped but didn't look back. "Then maybe one day, you'll understand what real results look like." The elevator ride down felt endless. My reflection stared back at me. Tired eyes, clenched jaw, the look of a man who'd lost everything and didn't even know why. Outside, the city buzzed with life, uncaring. Rain started to fall, soft at first, then heavier. I stood under it, not moving. My phone buzzed, a message from Lena. "Please understand. It's better this way." Better for who? I typed back but deleted every word before pressing send. By the time I reached my apartment, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I threw my bag on the floor, grabbed the nearest sketchbook, and ripped the pages out one by one. My designs, our dreams, covered the carpet like broken promises. I sat down, pressing my palms to my face. "You said we'd rise together," I whispered. Her voice replayed in my head. "I'm tired of waiting, Ethan. Damien believes in me." The rain outside grew louder. My chest ached, not from anger anymore, but from something deeper. Betrayal so sharp it left me hollow. I looked at the last page still intact, the one with the tower design I'd poured my soul into. Elysium Tower, the project that should have made my name. Now it would make theirs. I tore it slowly, the paper splitting down the center. That night, I realized something simple and brutal. I had no one left to trust. Not her, not him, not anyone. As I turned off the lights, the city still glowed outside my window, mocking me with its brightness. My world, though, had gone dark.